Hey, welcome back to the DDK CAD Technology Systems ongoing demonstration series of the composite panel builder. And in this session, what we're going to do is talk about the staging process after you build a flat panel. So on our drawing here, we have a typical elevation panel with it's a corner panel. So let's go ahead and draw that first so we can stage it. So you can come in here, use select the elevation. Basically, you can pick any part of it and it'll list it in here. This is covered under a different video, so I'm not going to get into the detail of that. So we're just going to go ahead and draw it. And there's our panel. We had the stiffeners turned on. So if we didn't want stiffeners, we would have turned them off, but I just left them on. So let's go ahead and stage this. And we can do that by just clicking on this button right here. And now staging it, what it's going to do is going to grab a title sheet from our support folder, one that was pre-set up for you, and it looks a lot like this. And what we're going to do is insert that, go get this stage title and put it, actually there's a node there to tell it where to put the center of that panel. So you can always adjust that if the panels are coming in too high or too low. So, and here are the attributes of this title sheet, and I'll get into mapping those in a second. So back to here, we're going to stage this. It's going to be this button right here. It says stage panels. Okay, now we could be staging 100 panels, but we're just going to go through one right now. And it says after you select what you need to select all the components because it's a selection set, and it's going to grab it from that selection set. If you leave something out of the selection, it'll be left out. So then it's asking for a location, so we're just going to pick a spot right here. All right, now what happens here is it goes and gets that title sheet. It figures out how big this is and scales this title sheet to fit. And we have turned on the profiles for plans and sections. If there was no plan, if it was just a flat regular panel, then it would have drew just the width of the panel and shown what the extrusion types are on the edges. But that's totally controlled by the settings, and you can turn that on and off. So basically what you get here is you get an extrusion table that identifies all the components around the metal stripping right there, and then you also get your title or what the panel tag is, all the project information. A project is usually from the setup of your project. So if we look back at our project, we know that the project name is MAW. And the customer, let's see, any more information here. It's a SAF range screen, and there's two of your colors. So it's either a bone white or titanium. So in this, we'll just say no, we didn't do anything. In here, it's SAF range screen, bone white, and there's the vendor and all this kind of stuff. So the material selection and all that is read from your project INI that you've already set up, basically from picking and choosing the items that you wanted. Now, this little name tag comes down below. What I want to show you now is the settings for stage title. So under your settings gear here, it says stage title attributes, but we're going to jump up to the data settings first. And the data settings will tell you what you want to happen to here, to this configuration. And it says right here, stage title is DDK-title. That's our demo version, but yours would probably be your client initials title. You could have multiple titles too, so you just can come in here, maybe 11 by 17 or 8.5 by 11. This vertical and horizontal spacing is when you have a lot of them. You want to have maintain spacing between and on the height of it. The margin, there's a multiplier that says I'm guessing how far up I need to put that, and it's a multiplier times that scale factor. So it's 1.75 inches times whatever the scale is. That's how far up that's going to go, and this is how far off to the right, this one section margin. The stage title layer, of course, the panel text block, that's this guy down here. You can modify it, change its layering, all its characteristics, whatever you want. Let's just jump down to the precision. So in our in our extrusion calculation, we can sit here and decide maybe we want 4 decimal, maybe we want 3 decimal. So you have total control of that, and you can change it after the fact. After you've actually staged it, you can come here and update the title. So other ones down here is your extrusion trim. Whenever you have there's an extrusion trim at the fold and extrusion trim at each of the bends at the edges too. So you can write that in there and say it's an inch or it's an inch and a half, 2 inches, three, total control. And again, after you've made that change, you can come back here and just say update this whole configuration and your table will change. So let's go down here, use item quantity. That's just uh, uh, something other people use, but it's available. It'll put down the how many items were found in the object. Let's see what else. Minimum extrusion length. So if you say I have a minute, this is used by other utilities to calculate whether or not on the short edges if you get a piece of extrusion metal cut and placed in there. So if it's not greater than or equal to the min, then it just doesn't show up at all. Um, and again, you can do stiffener precision too. So it noticed the stiffeners and it went ahead and put a stiffener table in there. So I'm just going to say, okay, cancel that. So there's your stiffener table. It sees 4 of them. Um, what I want to do is I want to trick the program and say, I want the, I don't want it to be bone white anymore. I want it to be the titanium. So to do that, you just need to update your title sheet. But first of all, you need to go back to the elevation, which is this guy right here, and tell it that it's titanium. So we're going to go in here and just for heck, just for the heck of it, we're going to come in here and pick that panel. I'm sorry. Let's do this. Change elevation panel color. Hit return. Say titanium. Window it, and there it is. Now I can come back up here. I don't have to rebuild the panel or nothing. I can just come up here and inside our miscellaneous commands, which is this nice little pull down right here, it says, hey, let's update the components of our title block, update title block. Or type UTB, you click on that, highlight it, hit return, and all of a sudden, voila, titanium. So it's easy to make quick changes. And let's do one down here. Let's change the precision of our extrusion. And then while we're in there, let's do that first. We'll just go in here, stage title, precision of our extrusion, or I'm sorry, the cutting of the extrusion. So it's our trim factor. So instead of 1 inch, we're going to go 2 inches. Okay, and then let's just say okay, just for the heck of it. So that means it's going to cut the metal back 2 inches instead of 1 inch off each edge. So when we run this program, we should see a deficit of an extra 2 inches off of each one of these. And let's do that again just by typing UTB, enter, and then any part of the title block. And then we'll see that instead of 49 it's 47. So you have total control of those kind of issues afterwards. If you change the system, you can update that. Here we have a release number. Okay, that is a, so if you want to have the releases in phases, basically, in the miscellaneous commands, you can come down here and say set a release number, and we'll call it 1A. All right, and say okay. Highlight all the tables that or title blocks that you want, and now when you sort for your material takeoff, you can sort it by that. Now, one last thing we want to talk about is how these attributes got in here and filled. So under the settings, again, there's attributes for the stage title. So we pull that up, and this is where you can actually get creative and take parts and pieces of the variables of the program. X is the panel tag on as it jumps from one panel to the next. So in the barcode down here, which is what we're showing, that's just a barcode font, and what we're doing is updating it, saying we want the panel tag, and as you look here, T01, that's the panel tag, and then we want a dash, and then we want the panel quantity, which is 1 right now, so it's a -1 dash, another dash, and then the job number, which was MAW. So you can marry all the different variables to create your own barcode, and then of course you want to duplicate that underneath it, because underneath the barcode is usually what is represented in the barcode. This would be in place of the composite panel demo. This would be a logo from your company, and just so everything looks great. Uh, Basically, here's the other variables, and we could come in here and we could do the same thing. We could come in and say, who's the checker, who's the drafter. We could hard code that by getting rid of the carets, or the greater than, less than signs, and just type in something like this is a test note uh, for today. Okay, we'll just say that. Or it could be about, ship flat or something like that. Okay, so we changed the note, and see how the note up here says test note, and then stop there, and then for today. If you put a backslash n in there, which is the typical, um, let's do backslash n. It should give you a second line of text. So then for today will be after it. Let's see if that works. Okay, okay. Now all you have to do is update UTB and just highlight the thing, and then there's your second line of text. We had that extra space there, that's why it's offset. So that's how you stage panels. And the reason we do that is because when you look at a panel sitting in nowhere, it's like, okay, maybe you know the hatch pattern is titanium, but you don't know any other properties. So when you put it in a container like this, it allows you to manipulate those properties and get your reports. That's the key element there, is being able to pull up your reports. And we could say, let's go build a cut list, and just say select all. And right now we only have one panel on 1A. That's it. So it's reading all the information in there and projecting it back to you. So when you get tons of information, you'll be able to create those cut lists and panel lists and everything else. Okay, so if you have any other questions, just give me a buzz. Thanks.